Good morning. This morning I'd like to address last week's 4.2 program's presentation on food, the program we've been running in the bulletin since the beginning of Lent. And I do have kind of a response in the bulletin, but it's a rather serious matter, so I thought I'd best address it personally. Farmers in particular, and perhaps others associated with farming in our area, are feeling that they've been hit in the gut by their church. And I am responsible for this and truly sorry and apologize to all who have been hurt. The Catholic Church has a rich heritage of applying the gospel and biblical principles, those principles of living simply, being good stewards, and serving the common good of all people, have a great heritage in trying to apply those principles to every era and time. The 4.2 program has been using that rich heritage of the church, trying to look at our situation today, to look at our lifestyle, our use of the earth's resources, and ways to give access to those resources to all people. That's a big project. But to remember, the 4.2 program is not all church teaching, but uses church teaching as the springboard to look at what's going on today and what steps we can take to do better. I reviewed the introduction to this program carefully and also a few of the different topics, but I did not review this last week's topic on food, and that's my fault. If I would have seen how their program on food was off the mark. My brothers and nephews are farmers and have hog confinement buildings. I've been in those buildings and know that the pigs are well taken care of, they're out of severe weather, and they're dry. And I know too, regulations are in place to care for those pigs in a humane fashion, and there's guidance on applying the manure that those confinements produce. I'm also aware of the low commodity prices we've been having, and that farmers are using multiple strategies to try to be productive while caring for the land. In applying church teaching to today's situation around food, the 4.2 program used some misinformation and resources that do not understand today's animal care and the farm practices of our local farmers and related industries. And the program did not address the problem of marketing and distribution of commodities at all. 5 farmers talked to me about last week's program, all feeling unjustly attacked for their farming practices. They're not only upset about last week's attack on them, but also upset that the 4.2 program might give fuel to the misinformation that is prevalent among those who do not farm. Farmers and their organizations are working hard to get the message out about how concerned they are for the good care of the animals, and that they are trying to develop best farming practices. And they've made great improvements over the last years. And because of it, they continue to be major players in feeding the world. So I understand how farmers don't want their church to make it more difficult to get that message out. Again, it was my fault. It wasn't church teaching that was at fault. It was an attempt to apply church teaching to today's food situation that the 4.2 made some claims that were false, and I allowed it to be printed. I'm deeply concerned about this as a pastor. As a pastor, I take it very seriously that any resources that Father Jeremy or any of us would be sharing with you to help you with your Christian life would ever take you away from what it means to be Christian. So like Dr. Wood's book, or our Lenten Day meditations. We don't want anything that would lead you to mistrust the Catholic faith or the teaching authority of the bishops and Holy Father. The misinformation and false claims of last week's 4.2 program, again, that particular part of it were not part of the teachings of the church. It was one group's take on the situation and strategies they thought would help respond to the teaching of the church. The teaching of the church is founded on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the principles that are being dealt with in all of the topics are to live simply, to be good stewards of the earth, and to help all human beings have a share in those resources of the earth. Those are moral imperatives. Now, how we do that and the strategies for doing it are going to be argued and discussed. And that's okay and it's good as long as it leads for us to continue to respond to those moral imperatives better and better. Now, I know last week's program may have led people to say, well, I'm not going to read any of it. But most of the 4.2 program is on the mark. These are issues that we are facing today. And this week's issue is water, how to conserve it, how to give access to clean water to others. And the program this weekend gives us very practical, doable suggestions for the good use of water. So I hope you continue to look at it, continue to use it to reflect on our lifestyle and the use of resources of our earth that God has given us.